Welcome to Tough Love Tuesdays. We're talking about getting it done in 2021. We are not messing around with this year, ladies and gentlemen. We're going after it. So here's what I propose. What I'm proposing is that we first like and subscribe, join the conversation. My buddy Ryan Camp is in there. He can hear me. He's a great YouTuber. You should go to his YouTube and subscribe to him. But uh, join, join the conversation here live and on Twitter. You can get me at I am CGJ on Twitter. So right now, let's just talk about what we're going to do. So what's coming up in 2021? More of everything. We got partnerships, we got gear and software that we're talking about, and we've got mobile movie maker, mobilemoviemaking.com, which is going to be bringing some exclusive content to us, which is awesome. They're a great resource, for a lot of inspirational projects that have been done. They do great reviews of those projects, but then they also do tips and techniques. But we are going to cover all that kind of stuff later. Um, we're doing Tough Love Tuesdays, so every Tuesday we are going to be helping you um, get over yourself. Get over yourself, get off the bench, and get into the game of creating your content. That is the main thing that Tough Love Tuesdays is all about, right? So that's what we're going to do. We are going to help each other, and I have a crack team of people that I'm gonna be showing off here shortly. We're going to do interviews and reviews of gear, reviews of different projects, and interviews with a lot of content creators and people who can really inspire us to get things done here in 2021. And we're going to go behind the scenes on some of those projects. I've got projects that I'm going to be doing. I've got a sci-fi series and a dark comedy that I'm going to be doing. And you were going to, do behind the scenes, but we're also going to be doing behind the scenes with, other creators, like Ryan and some of the other great content, creators out there, Rob Leach, all those guys, so stay tuned for that. Sip of water. All right. The tools. We're going to talk about the tools, and the tools are here to help you succeed. And literally, you have them in your pocket. You've got a phone, you've got an iPad, you've got everything you need to get something done. And if all you have is a phone, you don't have an iPad or a computer or anything like that. We can talk about all the tools that you need to get something done. Filmic Pro is the number one tool in as far as I'm concerned, for getting something shot on your phone, whether it's iOS or Android. But you have the native app. There's an app that already comes with the phone, so use that. Use something. Don't use nothing. That's the only thing you can't do. If you want to edit, there's some great tools out there. I prefer LumaFusion. That's my weapon of choice. But there are other tools out there, and we'll talk about those as well. So the trick is to not do nothing, and there's an app and a tool out there for everything and everyone. So we're going to talk about all that kind of good stuff. All right. And also, when it comes to editing, you need the big box under your desk. That big $10,000 box. That people are like, hey, I can edit my RE footage, or my red raw footage, all that stuff. Do you need that anymore? um no, not for probably 80 or 90% of the stuff that's out there. Sure, you need a big box for some of the things, like you can't necessarily, at least not yet, edit red footage on your iPad or your phone, nor should you try. But those tools are coming. Those tools are coming. This technology is moving faster and faster by the day. Apple is switching over to its own silicone, and it is blazing fast, and it's only the first version, and it's super accessible. It's super inexpensive compared to all the stuff that we used to have, well, still have, but coming up from this moment forward, it's amazing, the technology out there right now. Here are some of the what I call the inspirational Avengers. So we got Dee and Caroline and Glen, Valentina, Ryan, my home Ryan, Rob, and just come on, Richard, SJ, I mean, Cassius, I mean, just, so many, great Caroline, the Caroline number two, so many great filmmakers, and we have so many more that are going to be joining us to help us get inspired and get over the hump of ourselves and creating. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to use their knowledge and their inspiration to help us in our daily grind in terms of getting stuff done. That's what we need to do. That's what I almost called it Taco Tuesdays. I said Taco Tuesdays is healthier than tacos and just as delicious. Um, but it's that's what Tough Love Tuesdays is all about, right? So it's about getting it done in 2021, and these folks are always getting it done, always, and they're an inspiration to me, and I know they're going to be an inspiration to you. We're going to gear up. We're going to talk about, again, news, the news of creation. Just because it's not mobile doesn't mean that it's not news, on this channel. But there's always some inspiration that we can get from other from other productions and things like that. A buddy of mine is the DP on the Wonder Woman movies and the Mandalorian, he's always been an inspiration to me, because a lot of times I think, when I'm lighting a scene, what would Matt do? What would Matthew Jensen do? So that's there are people out there that I want to that I want us to talk to, but there's also a lot of news out there that can inspire. That people have been doing things with projectors, because they can't do, like on the Mandalorian, the big volume where instead of a green screen, they're using these big LED panels. Well, who can afford to do a $2 million volume? Nobody. But you know what? Some people have found that if they took their projector and did either front or rear projection, that they're getting some really cool stuff. Just things like that. It's like they can't afford the $2 million thing, so they get the $200 thing and make that work. And that's inspiring, and that's what I want. I want us to all take away from some of this other news and some of the reviews and about the gear, because the gear is the gear. The gear is just tools. Like I've got a table full of tools and drawers and shelves full of tools that I think are awesome. But those are they're just tools. And Alexa and a Red is, they're those are all just tools. They happen to be just really expensive tools, but they're all a version of what you already have in your pocket or on your table in the form of an iPad. So let's use what we got, people. And what you got is really damn good. Really damn good. All right. Speaking of damn good, look, 4K, 8K phones. Apple, Samsung, kind of leading the pack in terms of, at least in marketing, marketing terms. But I mean, they are doing really good stuff. That with their sensors and being able to shoot in Dolby Vision. I mean, come on, Dolby Vision, being able to shoot Dolby Vision on a phone, that's ridiculous. I mean, come on. How eh, like what can't you do right now? There's almost nothing you can't do. I mean, if you can take a Samsung phone and shoot 8K, sure, it may or may not be ready for prime time. That's a subjective thing, I think. Uh but I mean, man, look, chances are your phone shoots 4K, at least it shoots 1080p. So you're already shooting, HD. Go out there and shoot something. Just do something. That's what we're going to do. We're going to help you get, off your ass and get into the game. Okay. Never has there ever been a better time to be a filmmaker or a content creator. There's never been a better time, because right now, again, the the gear right now is too accessible. It's too cheap and too accessible. I can't think of anybody who doesn't have at least a smartphone in their pocket, to get something done. So, and then the knowledge is too easy to acquire. If you can't find out how to shoot anything, then you're just not looking. I I don't understand people saying, "Well, I have to go to film school in order to learn how to make a film." No, you don't. To hell with film school. You don't need to go to film school. You can want to go to film school, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with wanting to go to film school, but to need to go to film school, no. If you can't find it on YouTube University, if you can't find it on YouTube, or Skillshare or Udemy or any of these other places, where it's either free or really inexpensive, you're not looking. You're not trying. Um, so here, I'm going to see if I can. I need to send uh, somebody a link. I think hopefully we might have a little special guest in here in a second. But yeah, so the knowledge, and Ryan, if you can hear me and if you're available, why don't you jump in too? It looks like hopefully Glen will be able to pop in here in a second. But yeah, if you are not looking for the knowledge, because the knowledge is out there. I mean, there are so many great filmmakers and content creators out there who are putting out some incredible content in terms of education. You're not looking. You're just not even trying. I'm sorry. So that's part of the tough love is, shut up about it. It's out there. you know if you can't find it, I'm going to bring it to you, and if you're not going to listen, then I can't help you. I'm sorry. So the mystical aspects of filmmaking are no longer a mystery, people. It's not a mystery. So there you have it. Go shoot it. So you use this. um Ryan says he's working. He's at work at the moment. I got you, brother. No problem. Would love to have you at some point, but we'll get you. We'll get you in. But look, the thing is, like, you've got this, and if you can't use this, to make some sort of project, there's great stuff. If Steven Soderbergh can use this to make 2 feature films, why isn't it good enough for you or me? um that's that's the reality. It is, it's out there. You still have to light it. So the mystery of making a movie, it's no longer really a mystery. um you still need a light. You still need sound. Funny enough that I had a sound issue earlier, because I've got sound, got good sound. But all that kind of stuff is there. It's there for you. You have it. Shut up about it. Shut up and shoot. That's it. Shut up and shoot. um so so go out there and get it. Let's not play around anymore. Let's not play. The distance between the quality of cinema cameras and mobile technology is closer than it is apart now, right? So again, 4K, 8K, blah blah blah. DSLRs, I'm willing to bet my left leg that in the next couple of years, you will not need a DSLR to get DSLR quality, at minimum DSLR quality out of a smartphone. I'd be willing to bet. We are so close. We are right there, like right there. So I'm saying in the next 1 to 2 years, the next 2 generations of phone, uh, we're going to have larger sensors. The computational photography, videography, with these things is ridiculous. It's the, the technology is moving so fast, right? We can't keep up with it. Moore's law and all that kind of stuff. But the sensors are getting bigger, which means it's going to be letting more light in, which means we're going to be able to have better depth of field, shallow depth of field, all that kind of beautiful butteriness that you get from these different lenses, that lenses that you can attach to your phone, with using rigs, and even some of the lenses that are coming on the phones natively already are look great. But you know there those things are there. Those things are there, and literally right there. I mean, I've got a Sony A7S Mark II that's just collecting dust because, other than low light, which is becoming not going to be an issue as much coming hopefully very soon. Other than low light, I don't need that camera. I don't need it. Oh boy. Oh boy. Glen is here. I'm bringing him in, ladies and gentlemen. Here he is. Hey, Big Daddy, how you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm just realizing that I probably messed up configuration here, so I don't know if you hear me off my roadcaster or what. But anyway, never mind.
Oh, yeah, I'm not sure. We can hear you, and that's like the most important thing. So, yeah. So here we are. So Glen Mulcahy, ladies and gentlemen, he is, my partner in crime on the Mobile Creator podcast. But he is, an inspiration to me and to a lot of other people. He is, this incredible, educator in the the mobile journalism world. And here he is. He is one of the Avengers that is assembling. So how you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm already very pink, and when I say stuff like that, it just makes me, glow in a not particularly pleasant way. But anyway, thanks for the great intro. How are things going with you?
Oh, hey, I had an audio snafu at the beginning of this, but it's live, so it's Ryan let me know that I got probably 2/3 of the way through my presentation and realized that my audio wasn't working, but it's live.
Yeah, that's the nature of live. Yeah, it's just the risk
Yeah.
of it. Well, I mean, to echo the same thing, this is bedtime in Ireland, so if you hear screaming children in the background, I apologize in advance. There's not much I can do about it, I'm afraid.
It's live. It's live.
Yeah, it's live. It's live.
Yeah, so just I'm just telling the people at the point in this in this presentation that we're talking about the limitations of the cameras. There's so many great tools out there, for filmmakers, content creators, mobile journalists out there, and in the UK, people have been using mobile to do journalism for quite a long time, right? So I mean, this isn't something that's new.
No.
Using that in professional situations.
No,
So
I mean, there's a perception that it's all shiny and new, but I mean, I have to be honest. Like, we're into year 11 of the evolution of smartphones, and I would say, hand on heart, I could name check the people actually that I'm aware of who were basically at the cutting edge of testing stuff, even before the advent of the iPhone. To be fair, like, there were people experimenting with smartphones before they were even smart. I'll name like 3 or 4 because their work is definitely worth checking out. One of them, actually, I would give credit to, genuinely and sincerely, I would give credit to inspiring me to kind of go on the journey of exploring it. And that was back in, oh God, what are we now? We're 2021, so we're going back to 2007, 2008. So we're going back quite a ways. One guy, Illico Elia, Illy worked for Thomson Reuters at the time, and he was experimenting with Nokia N95s. If you remember those?
Yes.
Yep. N93s, N95. So I actually bought an N93 almost straight off the production and started trying to film with it. And it was a really interesting experiment. It kind of vaguely resembled a little pocket camera, but the quality and the file format was disaster. It took like 2 hours to ingest 1.5 minutes worth of footage into Avid because the transcoder didn't know what to do with it. It was like, crazy stuff. Mobile definitely wasn't thinking about anything other than itself at the time. But Illy was definitely the cutting edge of it. And Christian Payne, known as Documentally, was experimenting with flip cameras and small smartphones before the advent of the iPhone as well, and then kind of pushed the boundaries, particularly Android and iOS later. Nick Garnett from BBC. Nick, right at the cutting edge of the launch, I think, in BBC even, he was kind of pushing the boundaries before anyone else was even really acknowledging or talking about what you can do with phones. I remember seeing a video. And actually, when I interviewed him for the Mobile Creator podcast, he mentioned and referenced that, which was riots, I think, that took place. Was it Salford or Bradford? I can't remember, one or the other. It was definitely a Ford at the end of it anyway. He basically used his iPhone 3G to go live on radio, but he was still sending back photographs and short little video clips for BBC Online. That was, you remember what the video camera quality was like in the iPhone 3G. So those are the very early days,
Yeah, no, that it really is remarkable how far and how fast the technology has come. It's and as we've always talked about, on mobile creator podcasts, and I've said a gazillion times, is that we know that that the technology is only getting better from here. And this year Apple proved it, by you know bringing in Dolby Vision. To be able to shoot in Dolby Vision is bonkers, to be able to do something like that. um but to be able to just shoot in any flavor of HDR in video is amazing. So
It is.
it's just getting better. Just getting better and
Yeah,
better.
I have to be honest. I mean, I think if you look objectively at the evolution of the camera sensor technology over particularly the last 4 or 5 years, I think once we finally got into proper full HD, things started to get a little bit more exciting. But I honestly think in the last 2 years, from the 11 onto the 12, I think Apple have very much kind of shifted their emphasis into understanding that this actually is not just an indie filmmaking tool, but something that can actually surpass that quite substantially. And I think the advent of the introduction of 25 frames per second into the native camera, which everyone on this side of the pond heralded as a massive breakthrough after lobbying Apple for about half a decade. That was, to me, that was a testimony to the fact that they were kind of acknowledging that this is being used as a production tool, and we need to do something to kind of acknowledge that, which is a good thing. And also, I think if you look at the amount of companies who've invested, I'm presuming gazillions in research and development and accessories, whether they're audio accessories or lenses or whatever else it might be. Like, there's a massive ecosystem all around it, and to turn it into an even more powerful production tool. So yeah, there's no question that it has come of age. Now it's just a case of get off your ass and do something. I'm allowed to say that. Sorry. Shift yourself and be motivated.
Yeah, no, it's it's again really important right now. On Mobile Creative Podcast, we talk about all these different things, but here on Made on Mobile TV, and in particular on this show, Tough Love Tuesdays, it's like, get off your ass. Get off your ass, get off the bench, and get into the game with whatever you have. It doesn't matter, if you have, like Leach, just recently started shooting with a hand-me-down iPhone 8, just recently. But before, he was making all his stuff, his awards worthy short films that were been in like SF3 and all of that, were pretty much shot on like a 6S. So you don't need the latest and greatest anything. You just need to shoot something. It's really, it comes down to story at this point, because the technology is too good. So you can pixel peep and go, oh well, you know gigabytes and bit rates and blah blah blah. Okay, screw that. Really what we're trying to do is talk about, what are you going to make with what you've got. You don't have a $60,000 red camera, but this is in your pocket. And if it's good enough for Soderbergh, and Sean Baker, it's good enough for me. So let's go. Let's do something, and that's just me in the filmmaking world, with Mojos, and social media, folks like Caroline Scott, it's like, they're making stuff, professional stuff.
Yeah, one of my mentors in many ways was an amazing storyteller. I've lost count of how many Emmys he's won. I remember he spoke at the conference that I organized a few years ago, and he kind of blew everyone on the stage off by saying, we can all get super excited about bit rates and all that sort of stuff, but at the end of the day, the camera is just a tool, and it doesn't matter how expensive it is or anything else, because you can have a really, really super expensive camera that tells a really, really shitty story, and at the end of the day, you're just going to make a very pretty shitty story. It's still a shitty story though, and that's the essence of it. It's like, the story is everything. Stop letting the tech get in the way of it, and let the tech kind of, help you to tell stories that otherwise might never actually be told, because that's what mobile really brings to the party from a journalism perspective. The chance to get stuck in, intimate access, go places that you can't go with the big pro camera with the press badge all over you. That's just begging for the taking, particularly right now under COVID lockdown, stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, you mentioned something that that really kind of, sticks with me is that, you know, you you could have all this stuff, but I mean, really, again, going back to story is everything. So, and content is king. That's really the essence of it, is content is king. So, go make your damn content, and don't let that be an excuse. Don't let not having all this other stuff be an excuse to not get your project done. It doesn't make any sense anymore. Nowadays it doesn't make any sense, to do it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree
Especially
more.
you can shoot and edit on your device, whether it's Android or iOS. It doesn't matter. You can shoot and edit, and be
And
ready for,
publish.
and publish, by the way,
Everything.
because you can't.
It's an ecosystem. Yeah.
Yeah, because you can't do that on a Red or an Alexa. You can't shoot, edit, and publish, on one of those. So, um, yeah, it never has been a better time to be a
Yep.
content creator, and I love that. So, so anyway, moving forward, with this channel, it's similar to what we do with the Mobile Creator Podcast, but we're going to be bringing people in and their questions in live, and kind of addressing some of these fear points, is what I think they are, because a lot of times it really is just fear of getting getting it done, and putting it out there, because as I said, and luckily it didn't take with the audio, but I said when I started this actual stream, that I was scared. I'm scared every time, like every time we've gone, done our Mobile Creator Podcast, I'm shaking in my boots, but I was scared doing this live thing. But you know what, I'm not going to let that stop me. I'm not going to let fear stop me from doing anything. And fear is something that stops us from doing just about everything,
Yep.
in life in general, but in terms of our creative projects, because it's really hard to put yourself out there. And your project are an extension of you, and so you're putting yourself out there for people to critique. So I know I'm going to catch hell for my audio thing, at one point. Fine,
But
but
you know what? I'll comment on that one, because sometimes we allow ourselves to be burdened with these expectations that, not all of the time, are completely unattainable. I used to manage a team of people, not unlike yourself, in TV, who used to direct the nightly news bulletin. And I remember one night we had a catastrophic failure on air. I mean, literally, we lost about 20 minutes of a half-hour show, right? So it was black on air. It was, like there was phone calls and emails going from the chief executive demanding to know what the hell happened. And I mean, my head was on the block, and the director came out to me, and she was in floods of tears. It's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't know what I did. And blah, blah. And I'm like, you know what? Ask yourself one question. Okay. Like, did anyone die? No. Okay. So let's get a bit of perspective. Yeah, there'll be a bit of screaming and table banging tomorrow, but we'll get over it, and we'll make up for it. Like, keep it in perspective. And to a certain extent as well, I mean, I've said this to my kids lately. Sometimes when they learn to ride a bike and stuff, and my daughter's like a little bit nervous about falling off the bike, and I'm like, can this kill you? Honestly, every time you get into a situation in your life where you're really, really nervous, just ask yourself that question: can it kill you? If it can, then there's a good chance that you need to give it some serious consideration. But if it can't, like putting yourself on the web, what the hell? What the hell? To hell with the haters. I mean, there's plenty of them sitting in the long grass, great at throwing rocks at you, but never do a bloody thing themselves. So to hell with it.
Right.
Just do it. Do it and
Just
grin and bear the slagging that comes with it.
Yeah. I mean, hey, if there's anybody, if there is anybody listening, and I see that there are 5 people on there, and actually one of them is probably me. If there's anybody listening, let us know that you're out there. Drop a comment either on Twitter or here on YouTube, and in particular on YouTube. Just want to let us know that you're there. Let us know what is stopping you from getting off your ass and getting your project done in 2021. And let's start there, because really there shouldn't be anything stopping you. And we'd love to help. We'd really love to help you, kind of get over that, because we all have those same fears. We are people, there's a project, that I want want you to talk about, Glenn, your short film
Oh
that you've
no.
been wanting to do. Yeah, I
You're
know.
gonna
I'm
be the
here.
one shaming me now. Great, thanks,
Here it
buddy.
comes, man. Here it comes. But
Yeah.
but no, but I mean, really, it's we have legitimate reasons for not doing certain things. COVID being one of them. I mean, obviously, that's
Main
a
one.
that's a big reason for not getting some things done. Um, but let's talk about and just being honest and open and honest, because I feel like we can do that here on this particular platform. Is what are some of the things that would have set you back in terms of getting that particular project done?
I mean, to a certain extent, I mean, I have to put my hand up and say I just haven't prioritized it in the way that I actually really should have. Like, yourself, when you're self-employed, you're always watching where the next check is coming from. This type of project is a passion project. It's something that I know is going to have money going out the door, as opposed to necessarily something that's going to generate money coming in the door. And I definitely let that probably get in the way coming up to Christmas. It was just, it's all about getting the money in for the end of year tax returns and everything. So I just put it on the long burner. I had been, if anyone followed the podcast, we had talked along the 15 episodes about the kind of evolution where we're at and the obstacles that we were overcoming and the challenges that we faced. One of them was the initial talent that I'd gone after, probably overly ambitious. I'll be perfectly honest and say, she's based in Canada. That was always going to work with it. But I found an alternate talent, and she's amazing, and she's actually still very much heavily involved in acting and theater, and has done a couple of short films. One of them has been nominated actually for the New York Film Festival, which is phenomenal. So I mean, she's clearly invested in it and seemed quite positive about the whole project and everything. But I haven't prioritized it. I mean, coming up to Christmas, I got a special permit from a production company, which did allow me to go out on the road in spite of the country being in lockdown, because the government made special exemption clauses and broadcast was one of them. So I was able to go out and I was able to film stories coming up to Christmas. Technically, I suppose I probably could have availed of a similar kind of permit and permission to go ahead and actually produce the movie, but I didn't. I'm still not 100% sure why. Part of it may well be down to what you're talking about, this idea of some sort of an innate fear from stepping out of my comfort zone. I know what I'm good at. I have yet to know if I'm good at this. I mean, in principle, a lot of the same stuff carries over. The storytelling obviously going to be a bit different for sure, but I mean, the production side is not going to be radically similar than the addition of hopefully some creative lighting. Well, I don't know beyond that, man. I mean, like, you've seen me fail and fall at numerous obstacles along the way. What do you think is possibly the major obstruction that I'm refusing to acknowledge or face?
Well, I mean, look, I mean, there's you touched on one, which was needing to make sure that the lights stay on. That's a fear. That
That's
that people.
yeah.
So either not having the money or not having the time, all these other things. Those are all factors and legitimate factors. I mean, you don't want to go into the poorhouse for these projects. We're talking about making content, but
Mhm.
if anybody is like you or I, we've got to make a content. It's just that is as much of a death as anything, is as not being able to create. So um I think it's I you know doing it and getting it done, thinking that it's too big, that's a big fear as well. It's so like, oh, I can never get that done because I don't have either the knowledge or the time or the money or the technology or the this or the that. It's like
Yeah.
you've had versions of that. But then again, you writing something, putting it on paper, handing it to somebody and saying, would you say these words in front of a camera for me? That's a big thing. Asking somebody to do that.
Mhm.
um and then committing that to whatever camera that you're doing it and putting it out for the world to see. That's scary shit. It's
Mhm.
scary.
Mhm.
So I've seen that in you, because I've been there. I've literally been there, and I am there often. It's just like this today. It's like, what? I decided this morning that I was just going to go live. I was going to punt it to next Tuesday. I was like, you know
Right.
what? Why? That's just another Tuesday, and that's a Tuesday that's too late. So
Right.
let's just do it on this Tuesday. So, was it all ready? Was it all perfect? Is it all good? No, but I think we can
Gotta
fall
start
into
somewhere.
that
You got it.
perfectionism pitfall, that perfectionism pit that we can all fall into. I think that's a real thing.
Yep, it
It's
is. Yeah.
real. So Sean Cannell, on Think Media, he says, you have to punch perfectionism in the face, you know, um, and that's what I'm trying to do. That's
Yep.
that's what I'm really trying to do. Is I'm just trying to say, you know what? Is it going to be perfect? Am I going to be perfect? No, but I'm just going to do it anyway. So
So what is the plan? I mean, okay, I know you dropped me the invite, and I was like,
yeah,
just wrapping up dinner when I got it. It was like, are you going to do this every week, or like, what are you thinking of doing?
that's the plan, man. That's the plan. It's going to be. I want to be. Yeah, I want us to be a resource for people, to just get inspired and just get something done, and if we can do that every Tuesday, it's like we have a thing called Taco Tuesdays, you eat tacos on Tuesdays, but this is healthier. It says up here on thing, it's healthier than tacos and equally delicious. So that's what I want to do. I want it to be nourishment for the soul, in the form of, verbal tacos.
Like,
But yeah, that's kind of the plan. It's like just to show up on Tuesdays. People know that they can, get their asses kicked, every Tuesday in order to get. And if we need to kick it more than once, then that's what we're just going to have to do. That's fine.
true.
But for all of us, everybody in our sphere, like Richard and Caroline, all the um, uh, Ryan and everybody, it's people who are actually making stuff, but sometimes they need a kick as well. I hope that inspires other people. It's like, well, look, if they're doing it, I can do it.
Yep. Yep. Hear you.
Yeah. So pretty simple. Pretty simple.
Yeah, that's good. Well done you for getting over that very first hurdle, which is to begin, to start.
Nervous, dude. I'm actually glad that nobody could hear the first part of it, because you would hear the trembling in my voice. By the time I reset to go to do it again, because Ryan Camp texted me and just like, hey, dude, I can't hear you. And so, I fixed my little issue and I went back and I was just like, okay, I'm blowing through all this, and so I was good. So it was a good rehearsal.
Yeah. Well,
But
like I say, I mean, do it on national television. Trust me, it's wonderful. People give you feedback.
yeah, right.
Uh,
Right.
that's good
So
stuff. Well,
yeah, so as much as you can join in, if you want to be in every episode, great. If you only want to be in one episode, great. It doesn't matter. If you want to do it every other month, that's fine too. It's just, you're my brother. I want you around. I want, you're an inspiration to me, and I want folks to glean from it whatever they can. So
no, thank you so much for inviting me to be part of it. I very much appreciate it. So, yeah, I mean,
yeah,
happy to chip in and
I
offer
didn't.
whatever I can.
It wasn't as much of an invite as I just kind of told you what was going to happen. You were
Yeah,
involved and you
that
didn't
kind
know
of
it.
yeah, kind of sums it up. That happens to me a lot, though. You'd be surprised. No, that's a good thing. That's a good way to get me involved, actually, because if I have it in the diary more than a few days ahead, there's a strong possibility I'll forget that I committed to do it in the first place.
Yeah,
So short notice is actually the best way of getting me the best of times, So there
yeah,
you go.
cool. Right on. Well, good deal. So, well, yeah. So I'm just gonna kind of wrap it up. I mean, if you need to cut and run, because I know it's that witching hour for the kids. So,
It must be story time now because they're quieting down. So
oh,
God bless magic. That's all I can tell you.
good deal. Good deal. Right on. Well, hey, if you want to hang out, you can continue to hang out. I'm just going to blow through the rest of this little presentation. There's not much actually. So or if you want to head out, you can feel free to punch out
Or
whenever you need to.
cut me off screen and go with your prez, and I'll just hang back.
Right on. Right on. Here we go. So actually, I'm gonna. So you want to be off screen? I mean, because I
Yeah,
can.
cut me off. I'll sit back here in the green room.
Okay. All right. There you go. All right. We'll see you later, brother. And thanks for jumping in. I really truly appreciate
Dude.
it.
All right, man.
All right. All right. Later. All right. So Glen, he's an amazing dude, and thankful that that he's going to be able to be here and join us on this sort of thing, and help inspire folks, because he really does have an immense treasure trove of knowledge. So I learned from him a lot, and I know you will too. And it doesn't really matter that he's a mojo and you're a filmmaker. There's a lot of crossover between what we do. We're the skills are more similar than they are different. So it's all storytelling, and it's using tools. So that's really where it's at. So again, so finishing up on this slide, it is we need to now really understand the limitations of what this technology can do. So the technology is great. It's like I said, it's 8K, it's all these different things, but you don't need you don't need the latest and greatest technology, but you just need to know what your technology can do, and that counts for a lot, right? So anybody can, if you have a Red or an Alexa and you don't know how to use it, it's not going to do you any good. You're just going to have a very, very expensive paperweight. So yeah, so moving on. Again, not having money, not having the latest and greatest, not having, all these things are just excuses to not get your projects done. No longer can we do that, right? That's that excuses. We don't have any more time for excuses, ladies and gentlemen. It's 2021. 2020 was a really hard year for a lot of people, for almost everybody, literally around the world. But one of the things that came out of this was this past year anyway, was that people started doing things that they didn't expect that they could do, that they didn't know that they could do. And they didn't let some people didn't let not having the knowledge or not having certain gear get in their way. And I don't want you to do that either, because again, you have the technology. It's probably in your pocket or on your desk ready. So just get in there and use it. Okay. But don't let not having it be an excuse. That there's no more time for that. Okay. So next time we're going to talk about not waiting for permission. My saying is, don't wait for permission to create your vision. You don't need permission to create your vision. You don't. Period. That is the thing. So right now we're going to stop waiting for permission, and we're going to get it done in 2021 by any mobile means necessary. And that is that is how we're going to roll this year, right? Okay. Again, you don't need permission to create your vision, and that's a wrap, ladies and gentlemen. Now, please go out there and make something. Make anything. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter. Make something short, make something long, but just make something. Go out there and be creative. Be have fun. Be truthful to yourself, to your story, because honestly, somebody wants to hear your story. Somebody wants to know what you're doing. Okay, and that's cool. Making stories is cool. Doing this kind of stuff is fun. So go out there, get something done, and I look forward to seeing you next Tuesday. Same time, same place. Next time I will have audio in the beginning of it, I promise. And but I can't promise that everything is going to go smoothly, because hey, it's live, and things happen when things are live. All right. Thanks. Like, subscribe, and do all that kind of fun jazz that you need to do um, on YouTube. And let's rock 2021. All right. I'm out, ladies and gentlemen. Peace.